Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Kimberly.
I am Kimberly Womack. I'm the HR manager for the Noonan site. Today, we are going to have our final presentation for Inroads for interns. Our Inroad for interns this year was Nicholas Diaz, and he is going to present some wonderful things. I am standing in for Bob Gregory, our plant manager, who couldn't be here today. But on his behalf, I would like to thank his entire leadership team because they did an awesome job of supporting Nicholas's endeavors this summer. And I would like to thank the leadership team for making this happen and supporting us again. This is our second annual, so we intend to keep this going and moving forward year after year after year, just adding to our internship. Okay? And with that, Nicholas, or Nick, as we call him.
Thank you, everyone. As Kimberly said, I am Nicholas Diaz. I'm the summer intern here at Bonnell for 2019. And I would like to give a quick presentation on what I've been doing this summer. I'm a junior at UCF, the 2017 football national champs. This is my first time working on an engineering internship, but I've had an interest in engineering for a very, very long time. In high school, I got my SolidWorks associate certification, and I've used that a lot going forward and in this internship. And my other hobbies include music, fishing, and sports, mainly baseball and football. So a quick little overview of what I wanted to go through with everyone. Some smaller design projects that I had, mostly using SolidWorks, my main cutting cell improvement project, and what I've taken away from this internship and the other types of projects I want to work on going forward. So let's start with my design projects. This is a few of the ones I've worked on this summer, mainly through SolidWorks. But I wanted to highlight three in specific that I believe were important to the company and important to my development as an engineer. First of which was the Transwall project. So Transwall is a vendor or a client that was giving us 10-foot long tooling pieces to be pressed using our stamping press, as you can see in this bottom picture over here. The main problem with that was that the pieces were too long to put all into the press at once, so we had to find a way to put them in, press the first side, take them out, spin them around, and press them again. So what I wound up coming up with was this turntable that sits on a bearing that we were beginning to assemble over here, a loading and unloading cart for the operator to be able to easily take those pieces, put them on the turntable and operate, and a feeder mechanism that brings those pieces from the turntable into the press. Every design that I do, I try to ensure that it is safe, ergonomic, and as easy as possible for the workers to operate on. As long as it is efficient and safe and ergonomic, those are my three key words on every design I'm going to make. So that was what I was really going for here. Safety-wise, we want to make sure that our operators are as far away from the press as possible. So I have them not even near the guarding, if you can see the guarding over here. Ergonomically-wise, I tried to get it as close to good working height as I could. And efficiency, I tried to make it into as close to a one operator process as possible with the shelf. Here is another project that I worked on, a cabinet to hold our Yamaha appearance standard pieces, our AAR samples. We needed a safer place to hold them as they're in a drawer currently. So what I decided to do here was to put some shelves with profile conforming pieces to hold those profiles, making sure that they don't fall or scratch or anything along those lines. For security purposes, I made sure the doors were locking, and I made the panels out of polycarbonate so it's translucent. You can see the samples without having to open the doors. Lastly, I designed some Yamaha saw supports for some new Yamaha profiles that we're putting through the saw. These supporting clamps, they allow for two profiles to go through at once at the same time, which increases our throughput through the saw. I designed them to be made out of an oil-impregnated nylon so that they would be easy on the show surface. They wouldn't scratch the show surface. They're a modular design so that if one side of them were to wear quicker than the other, you can just replace that side, save money instead of having to replace the entire thing. And these through holes that you see over here at the bottom, they are helpful in getting these pieces to be easily mountable and dismountable. So you can just put a T-screw through there and only unscrew 2 bolts and you switch them in and out. Allows you for a quick change of mounts. So that brings us to our main project that I wanted to go through with you all today, which is our Yamaha cutting cell improvement. I used the Six Sigma methodology that I've learned through this internship, put that to good use in this project. And I believe that it is a way to really increase the efficiency of this cell, kind of implementing our constant improvement initiative. So what was the problem with this cell? The main issue that we had was that it was a bit of a bottleneck in our fabrication area. So our problem was that the Yamaha business was just taking up too much room in the cell through the saw, since we weren't able to cycle parts through quick enough, which hampers our future growth as we add new business to the site. And our business case for that is from our general observations, crew size being between 2 and 3 people. Our cycle time per part is around 56.2 seconds. We want our maximum allowable is 60 seconds, but we want it to be a little bit below that in order for us to allow room for more business to be added to the cell. From what we were looking at, we kind of noticed a potential of 10 seconds in waste that we can eliminate right off the bat, which adds up over our yearly demand to 108 hours of time available for other things on the saw. And our scope of our project is through the film application process, cutting, deburring, and inspecting. So, what does all that mean? In our cell, just to walk through with you guys what the process has been, 2 workers come here off of this cart of lineals. They bring those 12-foot extrusions onto the film application table and apply film manually, both workers. They have to do this with 3 different extrusions. Once they're done with that, those are moved onto the saw. The first part is cut to length. After that first cut, all 3 pieces are deburred and inspected for length and tolerance of squareness of their edges to Yamaha specifications. Then if those pieces all pass inspection, the rest of the pieces are cut to length and loaded, deburred and loaded on the carts. So what I did in my initial observations were I tracked the walking paths of both workers in the cell. Our cycles are 3 different sizes. We have a cycle size that is 9 parts, one that is 12 parts, and one that is 21 parts. So I measured here our median size cycle, 12 parts. And as you can see, there's a lot of waste over here and a lot of waste over here, especially in the inspection part of it. I measured out, after I took those observations, the distance with a walking tape measure, and I got that both workers are going over 220 feet during the course of one cycle. For reference, the length of this cell is no longer than 60 feet. So they're going almost 4 times the length of the cell in a cycle. And for any of you who are interested in working out, 20 cycles of that and you've just about walked a mile. So while that's good cardio, it's not what we want our workers to do exactly. So after that, I took a detailed time study of each of the different parts of the cycle, the film application, moving the parts onto the saw, the first cut and inspection time, and the rest of the cutting and deburring. From that, I took the total time and did a capability analysis of that amount of time. And from what I found, that's where we got our average of 56 seconds per part. But we also found that 30% of our samples that we sent through were over our tack time of 60 seconds, which is not good at all. Our expected yield would only be about 67% with that, under our time, which is a 0.54 process sigma, 0.18 process capability, which is very bad, but it allows us room for improvement. So from that and all the observation that I had taken, I identified 3 fixes that we can use to kind of improve the whole cell. And the first of which is to change the layout and get a new inspection table. So in our old layout, our inspection table was right over here. We'd have a worker going back and forth between these 2 in order to complete the inspection, which was a lot of wasted space. And the inspection table itself was kind of large and cumbersome, not at an ideal work height. So what I did was I designed a new one using T-slots. That table now goes directly next to the length check, which allows for a much simpler pass-through with our workers. And overall, it increases the workflow, and it reduces our total distance traveled in a cycle by 57%. So you might notice something else that I have here, which is only one person working this film application cell, and my next two solutions have to deal with that, because another problem that we noticed that was contributing to the time adding up was that when this worker here in red is deburring, finishing to deburr the cycle, the saw operator is kind of idling over here because he or she has to wait on the other worker to finish deburring in order to move these extrusions onto the film application table. So the ideal way that that would be fixed would be that we put one person on the film application table. So our first solution for this is the film applicator. It reduces that job to a one-person job. It's a one-operator task, and it makes it a more repeatable process, because a lot of problems that we have with the film application is that it winds up being cumbersome. The film gets cut on itself when there's two people working on it because they're applying that film by hand. That eliminates all of that. In the future, we could even go as far as to automate the process. So how it works is the film is on this top reel over here. The bottom reel is an application roller. It is moved by a gas spring operated. You can move it up and down and then push it across, and that bottom wheel will apply that film to the linear. And then I went to a few different vendors, looked around and tried to find some kind of lift assist mechanism, because even though it'd be a one-person operation to apply the film, we'd still need two people to team lift those lineals onto the table. So what I found was this concept of a lift assist done with a company named Positech, and we had the vendor come in, look at our process, evaluate it, and see what kind of solutions the two of us could come up with to implement to fix the problem. So what this is it's a vacuum lifter. These are vacuum pads over here, a pneumatic lift chamber. It's operated off to the side, so that all a worker would have to do is pick it up, step forward, and place it down on the film application table and apply film themselves. This would allow the cycle to continuously run. Even when the other worker continues to deburr at the end of the cycle, the other saw operator would go back to the beginning of the cycle and begin a new one. That eliminates a ton of waste, and it allows us to be more efficient with our work. It has many fail-safes. For instance, it can't be disconnected from the vacuum lifter without both hands on the handles. That's a safety concern, so that the lineals don't drop onto our workers' feet. It has fail-safes in case the vacuum pads were to not grasp or stop working. And it's an ergonomic process. It will allow those workers to not have to bend down to pick up those lineals anymore, and it allows them to stay upright and move them and drop them. So what kind of results have we been getting from this? We have really only been able to implement one of our three fixes since I've had a limited amount of time. That would be the inspection table and new layout. So what we were able to do with that was map our time series of our inspection time before and after we implemented that. We don't have too many data points at the moment, but from what we have shown, the trend has been in a good direction. Our overall cycle time is already down by 5 seconds. Our cycle time for our smaller cycles, which were a majority of our cycles, are down 8 seconds, and our average inspection time is down over a minute per cycle. That brings us up to a 99.4% expected yield from our time for our small capability analysis after, albeit with a limited sample size. That already brings us up to a 4.03 process sigma. And it's not our ideal state yet. We still have 2 applications that we want to implement going forward. But it is a good trend, and it shows that the progress is going in the correct direction. So what do I plan to do going forward? Phase 2 of that is our film applicator, which I'm actually about to finish, hopefully today. I was trying so hard to get it in order to show you guys, but we were just a couple screws short and an hour too late. But that's almost done. Hopefully that'll be implemented in the next couple weeks. And our final part of that is the lift assist, which we have quotes for. We have to get that approved and ordered, and there'll probably be about a 10-week lead time going forward. Then hopefully that gets implemented and we can fully have our ideal state for that cell. We'd update the SOP for it and everything, and then we go into our control phase, which would be to monitor the process, make sure that it's staying within those bounds that we've established. So what have I taken away from this internship? As this project showed, a lot of Lean Six Sigma was taught to me. I learned about DMAIC, which is the process that I use to go through this project. 5S, about safety and cleanliness in the work cell. Timwood, identifying the different types of waste that you have in your work cell. Process flow mapping, taking a capability analysis, time observations, mapping your layout, and Gantt charts to monitor your process. I've improved my skills in SolidWorks, Excel, PowerPoint, and Minitab. And what I'm going to add to that is the other thing I've mainly learned is just because it works in SolidWorks doesn't mean it works in real life. I learned that the hard way a few times, but you know, that's all the learning process, and I've really enjoyed every minute of it. So I'd like to take a moment to thank all of you for allowing me to be here, for making everything happen that's allowed me to take this internship. Even though he's not here, I'd like to thank Bob Gregory for always being there for me. I'd like to thank Matt D'Amato over here. He's been an awesome manager and really helped me along the entire way. Everybody else on the floor that's given me little bits of information and knowledge and wisdom. It's all been just a great experience for me and something that I'll always remember. And I'll never forget this summer here at Bonnell. Thank you, guys.
Questions?
I'll take it now.
Alright, do you see other applications for that type of lift assist that we could use?
Yes, sir. There's an application in APN as well to lift those parts. It has a capacity of 250 pounds, so it's applicable for other areas of the plant.
And what's that cost about?
About 35 to 40,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. We could do so much with that. I mean, you think about productivity and safety. That's a great move.
Yeah.
Nice job, really well done.
So just a comment,
Yes, sir.
your poise, your presentation, all those things are phenomenal.
Thank you.
You definitely represent yourself very well. I hope you'll take that confidence with you beyond Bonnell when you get back to school, and hopefully once you graduate, you'll have an opportunity here. But if not, I think that you're very well set to further your career, and make sure that you take that PowerPoint and make sure that you talk about that fully with your professors and the rest of your colleagues so that they can see how you've been able to take the textbook learning and put it into practical application.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Kind of add on to that, earlier this year we had our President's Speaking Awards where each of the manufacturing sites submitted projects forward, and what I would say is that your project was definitely on par with projects from very seasoned people in our organization. The quality of the work you've done, the quality of the results, and really the command of the topic and how you deliver it. It was phenomenal, and that just speaks a lot about kind of where you already are compared again to some very seasoned employees here at Bonnell. So it's just phenomenal. Great job.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you to Nick for being great support for me this summer. I have him stay another 4 months for all the other help that I need, but he's done a great job learning and picking up on what Jason and I have tried to put in front of him, and he's applied it, as you can see, and the results are there.
Now we get to hold your feet to the fire to finish this stuff.
That's very
too, right?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent some time with Nicholas, and I'm going to say he's well beyond his years first rate. I mean, I've worked with, the other interns and Nicholas, and he's like you said, this is beacon quality stuff that he could put together. I was just blown away by him and how he handled himself and took a hold of the material. I mean, Minitab and Companion was just like food for him, It was excellent. Did me good. It made my heart feel good.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Nicholas, I'd like to double click on some of the things other people said. I thought your presentation was fantastic. Your delivery, your poise, your confidence. There were no ums and ahs and I don't know what the next slide looks like. It was first class. It was a professional presentation. You should be proud of it. I would assume that compares very well with your peers at school because, as other people have said, it compares exceptionally well with very seasoned professionals who have been in business for a long time. So you should really be proud of it, and you did a great job. There's tons of potential yet to finish off some of the things that the clock just ran out on you time-wise. But that work cell can be, really productive. So good for you. I really enjoyed watching you do it and just seeing the detail of your presentation. It was a great job. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to also add that you don't run across a number of engineers with the type of personality that you have. So continue to keep that personality. It does a profession good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
What are you saying?
You know what I'm saying? The pocket protector, just, I like that.
So again, I would like to thank you all for coming, for participating, and I'm speaking as Bob. I am so glad and happy and proud of the leadership team. When Nick came in, he wasn't fumbling, well, what am I supposed to do, and who do I report to, and what projects should I work on? And I think that's a testament to how we, or they, as a leadership team, did a very good job of understanding the projects, what we wanted to accomplish, the time frame, and all of that. Now, from Kimberly, the HR manager's standpoint, Nick was an awesome interview. He was on time, he was focused, he presented just this way to me, and I knew that he needed to be a part of this program this year. So he was phenomenal and professional in the workplace, on time, focused, and all of the things that you would want in an employee. And he is so, not so, but for his age, I'm going to attribute some of this to his military background, but he is just a gem, and we really appreciate it. So on behalf of Bob Gregory and the Noonan plant, along with the Tredegar Corporation, I would like to present you with this gift.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Good stuff.